Welcome to Let's Bet, the show for folks who love betting on sports but hate losing money. I'll show you how to increase your sports betting bankroll by gaining confidence so that ultimately you can have the lifestyle that you deserve. I'm your host, Scott Pritchard, pro bettor, 31 years, founder of Pritchard'sPicks.com. You can catch me each and every weekend in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Last year, I took third place in the Circa Invitational. This year, by invite only, asked back to compete. And once again, it's deja vu all over again. I'm in third place. Are you kidding me? We're broadcasting live and worldwide each and every Friday from 1 to 1:30 Las Vegas time, on demand on Pritchard'sPicks.com and on your favorite podcast and video distribution platforms. To reach out to us, I would suggest that you email us at letsbet@Pritchard'sPicks.com. That's letsbet@Pritchard'sPicks.com. Also, stay tuned for the next 30 minutes, boys and girls, members of the jury, because I will be offering a discount code for your weekly 20% off all picks and packages applicable throughout the weekend. Now let's get started. My guest this week, celebrity Las Vegas Review-Journal sports betting reporter, Todd Dewey. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Scott.
How's life been treating you, my man?
Been treating me okay. Can't complain. Grinding it out at the RJ.
How long have you been in Las Vegas now?
Since 96. Been here almost half my life now.
27 years. Outstanding. Wow.
Yeah.
I've been here since April of 93, so I blinked, and here it is 31 years later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a few decades between the two of us, so pretty cool. How did you get started in sports betting journalism?
Well, sports betting journalism, about 7 years ago, I took over for last week's guest, or a recent guest of yours, Matt Humans. We both worked at the Review-Journal together for a number of years. I used to, do some part-time sports betting reporting along with my other duties at the paper, and sometimes I would fill in for Matt or help him out with certain stories. And then when he left to join VSiN on a full-time basis, he recommended me actually to be his replacement, and they offered me the sports betting beat. And so I decided to take it and finally got a rebate for all those years of being a degenerate gambler.
I like it. So what do you like best about working at the RJ as a sports betting reporter?
Well, I always just wanted to have a job in sports in any way I could, and wanted to get into either the broadcasting or the print version and cover just about everything there was to cover at the RJ for sports. Cover UNLV football, minor league baseball, hockey. So this is really would be my dream beat, really, because I've always been interested in sports betting. And so to write about it and talk with professional bettors like yourself and the bookmakers, it's just a lot of fun to cover sports betting. It's really fun to keep track of the odds and the bad beats and, make picks and have contests and be able to tell my wife that I'm going to watch NFL football all day and night for my job and for that to be the truth.
How supportive is Nancy, your wife? I had the opportunity to meet her not long ago. What a great, great person. Very humble, very beautiful, and very nice. Man, I have to say, man to man, friend to friend, you outkicked the coverage team.
I've got that a lot. I don't know how to take that. No, I agree. Yeah, no. She's very supportive. Although, honestly, when I did take over the beach, she's like, you're not going to start betting every day now, are you? And I'm like, no. And then I think the first story I wrote was about someone that won the Circa Million, I believe, and it was a Starbucks barista in town. And the second place finisher was a farmer from Illinois that said he didn't even watch half the games because he was out plowing, harvesting
Amazing.
the crops. So I'm like, anyone can win this. Maybe I should give this a shot. And
Right
she's
on.
looking at me like, what have I gotten myself into?
So what have you learned? It's kind of cool that you are in the trenches on a day in, day out, week in, week out basis. You kind of hang out at the finish line and then interview the winners. So how cool is that? So what have you learned as far as the people that, say, have won Circa Survivor or Circa Millions or the Westgate contest? What would you say separates the pretenders from the contenders?
Well, Good question, but a lot of studying. People definitely take it seriously, put a lot of work into it. There's all kinds of different ways to do it, though. A couple of guys they get on the phone every week and go back and forth with their picks and back quarterbacks or coaches. Other just a lot of different ways they do it. But from just covering the job, I know that professional bettors look at things different than the betting public. They'll always bet on the public will always, like for Super Bowl props, the betting public will always bet yes and over and favorites, and the pros will always bet no and under, and mostly the underdogs. Or pros will bet numbers, not teams. Pros will bet teams to bounce back from a big loss, whereas the public will want to bet on a team to just keep going. Like had a big win, they'll probably want to bet them again the next week, whereas a pro might think, all right, they're going to have a letdown. So yeah, I've just learned the different ways that the different sides of the business do it, from the pros to the public.
Great insight. It affords me the opportunity to talk a little bit about sports betting philosophy. And when it comes to sports betting philosophy, oftentimes I'm always talking about CLV, closing line value. Todd mentioned that he's noticed the difference between, say, Joe Public and wise guys and sharps and unfair advantage players. They do tend to take the points. Points mean more than opinions. They do tend to take dogs. They do tend to bet under as opposed to over. I'm a big CLV, closing line value guy, meaning that I think you have to do something proactively to offset the house's edge. The reason the sports books make money, boys and girls, is because of the fact they have the vig, the juice, the tax. You're flipping a coin. That point spread is there to represent 50% of the action on the dog, 50% of the action on the favorite, and the sports book will take 10% of the losses. That's very, very significant. That means you have to be right 11 times out of 21 just to break even. So what can you do to offset the house's edge to go from a small favorite to lose to a small favorite to win? Me, I do this 24/7. I have 14 different outs. I'm going to almost always get the best number. If I'm laying 3.5 on Tuesday and it closes 5 on Sunday, doesn't mean I'm going to win long term, but short term, winner, steak and lobster dinner. Closing line value is critically important. And to Todd's point, he talked about sharps will bet value and numbers way more than teams. So that will wrap up this educational on teaching, training, and explaining as far as sports betting philosophy. When you bet yourself and or what you've learned since 1996, Todd, do you have a sports betting strategy, or do you have a specific sport that you prefer to bet, and why?
Well, I try to follow and be on the sharp side if I can by talking to professionals like yourself and sharp bookmakers. But, it's still tough to win even when you're always on the sharp side. But I will try to do that. Sometimes it's tough where sometimes I think how much have I really learned, because my first instinct is still kind of as a recreational bettor, honestly. And I'll be like, I love this team. And then I'll talk to the sharp bookmaker, and his first call is on the other side. But it kind of helps keep me in check. But mostly try to stay on the sharp side and try to avoid, don't take parlays, which that's another thing I learned, that, most people want to bet a little to win a lot. Whereas, pro sports bettors and sharp guys I spoke with, always want to do straight bets, and also some that will take some big money line favorites, although, I don't really have the money to be betting big money line favorites. I love the NFL and football. I probably do the best on the NBA, I guess, but I'm not a big bettor by any means, as I told you. If my wife's watching this.
Something tells me she's watching it. She's taking notes right now to critique you. Sit up straight, smile more. I can relate. Love of my life, permanently engaged forever. I've been married and divorced twice. There will not be a third time. I don't feel the need to destroy another innocent person's self-esteem, so I'm just not going to go there. But been with the same lady for the past 6 years and counting. She's an angel, and so far so good.
Very lovely, and I might say you outkicked the coverage as well.
Well, it's like deja vu all over again. But I want to expand on your point when you talk specifically about maybe more of a recreational bettor as opposed to a sharp. You like to be on the sharp side. You like to follow sharps and or wise guy action. But that's where is the rub, because it's a little bit delicate, because the line might be 3 on Tuesday and you see on Friday, hey, it's been bet up to 5. Joe Public from Topeka is not driving that number. It's wise guys. So minus the points might be the play, but the problem is you're compromising a ton of value. So it's one thing if you're laying 3 and now it's 5, but if you're laying 5 knowing that it opened 3, you are compromising a ton of value. Your thoughts?
Yes, definitely. I know that you want to be on the number that the sharp guys betted at, and that's why whenever I do kind of report on sharp action in the newspaper, I'll put what the number was that, if at all possible, I'll get the exact number that the sharp action came in at the book, and kind of go through the genesis of the line move, what it opened at, like just today I have to write a Raiders preview every week, and the Bengals opened as high as 9.5 at the Superbook, and then it was bet down to 7, sharp action on the Raiders. So obviously 7's not as good a number as 7.5 or higher.
Right. In fact, in pro football, we know that the key numbers, everyone knows 3, but then it's followed by 7, 6, 10, 14 in that order. 3, 7, 6, 10, 14. Most people understand that, but people bet totals and they do not know how key 37 is. 10 ways to get to 37 if you're looking at a first half, second half in college, or 37 for a game. Ultimately, if you like under 37.5 and it starts to go to 37 and a touch of 36.5, you better steal that 37, because again, 10 ways to get to 37. So people talk about key numbers, Todd, in regards to point spreads on sides, but they fail to mention totals. And I talk to people in the sports book on a day in, day out basis who appear to be educated and appear to be winning players. Yet I ask them, hey, do you bet totals? And when I tell them this about 37, they look at me like I have 4 heads, kind of like how you're looking at me right now.
I never heard that before. I never heard the 10 Ways to 37 by Scott Pritchard.
Yeah, well, maybe that's my new book. I like that. That's a nice title already.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this time and reach out to our viewers and share the discount code Allen, Allen, as in Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers. 5 wins, no losses, winning by an average of 17 plus points. Why do I bring it up? Because I told you before the season started, the Cleveland Cavs are the sleeper team in the Eastern Conference at 25-1, 20-1. I also told you the Memphis Grizzlies and the Phoenix Suns are the 2 value plays in the Western Conference, and they're off to a good start as well. So the discount code for 20% off, boys and girls, Allen, Allen, Allen. Make sure you spell it correctly, unlike your host. Allen. Allen is the discount code. It's good the entire weekend. 20% off all picks and packages. Coming up in a few short minutes, we are going to be sharing our best bets with my host, Todd Dewey, and myself. I'm 5-2 in the last 7 weeks when I started doing this. Matt Humans did a great job last week giving out winners, steak and lobster dinners. No pressure, but you've got some big shoes to fill, Todd.
Yes, I do. I had big shoes to fill at the Review Journal replacing Matt, and definitely as a handicapper, I really respect him as one.
Like you, like me, I think one of my unfair advantages is work ethic and being able to focus and hone in. Even then, it's extremely challenging. I go 2-5. I'm thinking, what am I doing? Yeah. Am I in the wrong business? But then you go 6-1 and life is good again. I always talk about, in the past, winning streaks, losing streaks, you have to have thick skin, short memory, because this business is extremely humbling. You might be in a zone. You might be seeing everything correctly, but that's where money management comes into play. And that's what I want to ask you, based on your experience in the trenches since 1996 in Vegas. Why do you think most people who bet on sports lose outside of bad money management?
Well, probably by trying to bet a little to win a lot, the parlays that the general public bets, because people don't have a lot of money to manage, really. And being a reporter, I could relate to that. But I think, by going for long shots mostly, and there's a lot of reasons. Just wanting action more than selected picks. Like, they might have their best bet of the season, but the next night could just be sitting around bored and watching a Tuesday night slate of NBA and just bet because you just want some action. So I think maybe not to be so selective. And then honestly, people are out, drinking, having a good time, and, probably might have a few and make some decisions they otherwise wouldn't have, poor decisions.
I think that's great input on your end. I had Bill Krackenberger on the show a few short weeks ago, and he was very transparent, very honorable and ethical like yourself. And I asked him what he enjoys most about sports betting, and I was surprised by his answer. And he says, you might be surprised by my answer. He says, I love the action. And this is coming from a sharp. Yeah. So, and if I'm honest, I enjoy that as much. Yeah. I like making money. I like creating something out of thin air, getting the best of it, sticking it to the sports book every now and again if I can, because I know they don't hesitate to stick it to me when they reject a bet or say, we'll only take half of what you actually want. Yeah. But if I'm honest, I thought it was a very honorable answer and transparent, because I'm used to hearing that from rec players, but from a wise guy sharp like Krackenberger, for him to proactively say, I like the action.
Yeah, there's no question. It gets the adrenaline going, makes life interesting, that's for sure. Any game, when you have action on it, is obviously a lot more interesting than if you have no interest in it. Why else would you be watching, trying to think of the two worst teams I could think of right now, but
any team from New York, any team from New York will do.
There you go. I'm with you on that one, Scott.
At the risk of upsetting a big part of our audience in New York, Jimmy crack corn and I don't care.
No offense, I'm a Bostonian, so
right on.
I'm with you on that one.
Good disclaimer there on your end. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to address the best bets for the weekend. Todd Dewey, Scott Pritchard on Let's Bet. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Matt Humans from VSIN, and it's great being on Let's Bet with Scott Pritchard. Make sure you follow this show every weekend. And by the way, Friday nights, the Circa Friday Football Invitational. Catch Scott Pritchard and 24 other handicappers with their best bets. You can follow us at vsin.com and watch on YouTube TV. But remember, tune in to Let's Bet with Scotty P every Friday.
Matt Humans, our guest on the show Let's Bet from a week ago. We're now with Todd Dewey, the sports betting reporter from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Before we get to best bets, I have let's go ahead. I can't tease you guys any longer. Let's go with the best bets. Best bets, 1 to 3 best bets, college and pro football, sides, totals, money lines. Todd, who do you like and why?
I like a few NFL teams. I'm in the NFL Challenge, the Review-Journal NFL Challenge. You're in the College Challenge in the paper. I would love to have you in there. And so I'll go with 3 NFL teams. I like the Atlanta Falcons -2.5 at home over the Cowboys. Falcons have been playing really well. Covered 3 of the last 4, won 4 or 5. And the Cowboys are just a mess right now. They're so banged up. They have only covered 1 of their last 6, I believe. And their defense is next to last in the league, giving up 28 points a game. Only one worse is Carolina Panthers. And their run defense is worst in the league with Carolina. Atlanta could run the ball. Kirk Cousins been having some success. Like the Falcons, playing well. Also like the Buffalo Bills at home by 6 over the Dolphins. They just own the Dolphins. They've won 5 straight over them, including week 2 in Miami, 31-10. They've won 12 of the last 13 meetings. And then in Buffalo at Arcade Park, they've won 8 straight over the Dolphins in 12 of 13. Dolphins have only won once there since 2011. And then I'm also going to go with the Rams, also kind of a dominant series, divisional series there, as the Rams swept the season series last year over Seattle. And they've covered 7 straight and won 5 of 7 and 10 of the last 14. So teams going in opposite directions. Seattle has lost and failed to cover 4 of their last 5.
Do you have a preference, NFL as opposed to college?
I like NFL more. So, yeah, I like the NFL more than college. Although the college, you have a much bigger slate. I guess since I'm in the NFL contest in the paper, I kind of focus on that more.
I want to expand on that. When you talk about the NFL Challenge, I know Jay Carnegie, the main man at the Superbook contest at Westgate, yourself and some other heavy hitters in that NFL Challenge. How do you go about coming up with a 10-person roster, handicappers, sharps, pros, going against the point spread week in, week out, year in, year out, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, well, when I took over for Matt Humans, as I mentioned, he had that contest set. It was modeled after the Westgate Super Contest. And then, of course, Circa Million came on board with the same format pretty much. And so Jay Carnegie is in there. The challenge was supposed to be a Review Journal reporter, normal average Joe like myself reporter, taking on the sharp sportsbook directors and bettors. So that's why I'm in there. And then you have Jay Carnegie from the Super Contest. And we have, another sportsbook director from Stations, Chuck Esposito, joined this year. And some other different handicappers, Kelly Stewart, she's got a couple 100,000 Twitter followers and pretty sharp herself. So you want a mix of bettors and bookmakers and people with large followings and people that have had a lot of success over the years, and try to mix it up here and there if someone has a rough go of it, or just to mix it up over the years. So I think we have a good mix of people, and a few people doing really well this year.
Yeah, I noticed that in the NFL Challenge on Sunday, as you referenced. I'm doing the College Football Challenge on Saturdays, and everyone, it seems to me, has their own preference. A lot of people are going with point spreads. I tend to lean on totals, but I want to finish the segment on best bets. We're talking with Todd Dewey, who just gave you, hopefully, 3 versus the number point spread winners in NFL football. I'm going to stay consistent and go with college football on Saturday, not 1 but 2 plays. As I mentioned at the outset, in the past 7 weeks on this show, I've given out 7 plays versus the number. Most recently, Wake Forest game last week, under 53.5, easy winner steak and lobster dinner. Navy taking on Rice this weekend, Saturday, under 48.5 points. I think 48.5 is a bit happy. I like the under. Another college game for Saturday. I'm leaning on the not the Chicago Bears, but the Baylor Bears. I wonder who would win that game if the Chicago Bears actually played the college team Baylor. I'd still make Baylor a small favorite. They're a small favorite in this game. They're favored by 3 against TCU, the Horned Frogs. I'm going with the cheap, what I see as a cheap money line, minus $1.50. You can lay 3 minus 110, but for an extra 40 cents, I can lay just to win the game. 3's a push. I win with the money line, and if it's close, tight, late, I win. So there you have it. The Baylor Bears minus $1.50 on the money line at home against TCU, and Navy Rice under 48.5. You are going to hear about this next weekend. Win, lose, or draw. Very transparent on the best bets, but bet with your head, not over it. Scott Pritchard with Todd Dewey. We're talking Let's Bet each and every Friday from 1 to 1:30. Todd, how can people find you?
You can find me at TDewey33 on X, formerly known as Twitter, and at lvrj.com.
When it comes to sports betting, specifically, what is it that annoys you or frustrates you?
That I'm not a pro sports bettor and that I just write about it.
Not yet. Not yet. Have you? I guess it's something you'd have to clear with Nancy, your wife.
Yeah, probably have to clear that up. No, it's a lot of fun. I don't get frustrated with much. Maybe when I write up a story, and then since the odds are constantly changing, if there's some big injury report or something and the odds change and you have to rewrite stuff, but nothing really frustrates me too much. I love my job.
It shows. You're very passionate. You're very good at what you do. And, sports bettors hang out with other sports bettors, and just man to man, friend to friend, you have the respect of everyone that I know. That should tell you that whatever you're doing, it's working. My question for you would be the fact that you've been here since 96. I've been here since 93. I've seen this town change a lot over the past 3 decades. What say you?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's changed a lot. Just more people and everything else, and sports betting industry, of course, just exploding across the country. With PASPA being overturned a few years back, but yeah, just love it. That's kind of turned into the sports capital of the world, as well as sports betting, as with all the pro teams coming to town and more on the way, and yeah, it's just more the merrier. It just increases the fun and excitement of the city. Most exciting cities in the planet.
Well, international city, international hub. During the off season to chill, relax, decompress, I travel. I like Thailand. My girlfriend is talking me into going to the Philippines for the first time. Been to Vietnam, been to Costa Rica. I generally go to Costa Rica a week or two before the Super Bowl, but I'm always back in town for the big game. But I'm always anxious to get back to Las Vegas. My question for you is, knowing that, like myself, you're a workaholic, what do you do to chill, relax, decompress, clear your mind?
Yeah, I've been mentioning Matt Humans a lot, but I guess we have a lot in common, because I heard him say he likes to get out in the sun, and I'm the same way. I like to go out to the pool, love going to the beach, love golfing, try to golf once a week or every other week. And my family and I, we've been going to Cancun most years for a yearly trip. Also been to Aruba. I really love that. And last summer, so traveling, really like traveling, and just getting out in the sunshine and playing some golf.
Are you committed to Vegas for the next 50 years?
I love Vegas. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, it's always fun when you come back from vacation and you live in a vacation spot. So kind of always feel like you're on vacation to a certain extent.
It's a great point. I've mentioned to my girlfriend on occasion that people travel from all over the world to hang out at a $4 billion Resorts World, or a $4 billion resort across the street at Fontainebleau, and oftentimes it's in our backyard. I love doing the tourist thing. It never gets old. Concerts, 5-star buffets, 5-star restaurants, entertainment 24/7. I mean, again, it sounds like a Chamber of Commerce ad, but like you, I absolutely love Vegas.
Yeah, no, I love it. I was just thinking last week, I got a gift from my wife for my birthday for a massage at the Waldorf Astoria. So I went there. I played golf at TPC Las Vegas, and then we went out to dinner at Circa on Friday night and went to a concert. I'm like, that's like a vacation week right there.
Todd, I want to thank you for being our guest on Let's Bet. You're a 5-star, rock star, superstar. We'll have you on again, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Good luck, everyone.
I do want to point this out, because I was at the Raider-Chiefs game last week, and I did a half-page article in the RJ where you had asked that, hey, you're not asking for much, by the way, do a write-up in every game, and then if you don't mind, give us the score on who's going to cover and whatnot. I said, okay, anything else? But I was at the game, and in the paper, I wrote up that the Chiefs would win the game 27-13. Looking good, feeling good, with a $1.40 to go in the game. The Chiefs are up 27-13 before the late backdoor touchdown. Not only did the Raiders make it close, they covered the backdoor number. So I went from hero to zero. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, you texted me that, and 27-13, we're alive here, we're alive, and that was probably your mistake right there by sending me the text.
Exactly. Don't ever do that until you see the final score.
Yeah.
It's never over until Roseanne Barr sings.
Yeah, that's one thing that annoys me. If anyone ever tells you, you got it, it's a lock when the game's still going.
Yeah.
You're done at that point. It's like Eddie Mush.
I love it. For Todd Dewey, I'm Scott Pritchard. You've been watching Let's Bet live and worldwide each and every Friday from 1 to 1:30. To reach out to us, simply email us at letsbet@pritchardspicks.com. That's letsbet@pritchardspicks.com. Friendly reminder for that 20% discount code to get 20% off all picks and packages, including the reoccurring weekly, monthly, seasonal packages. Allen, ALLEN. Next week, I'm pretty pumped. I know you are too. My guest is going to be Beth Raymer. Friend of mine. Haven't seen or talked to her in years, but she's going to be joining us next week. She was featured in the movie. She wrote the book, Lay the Favorite. It was such a success that it became a 5-star rock star movie starring Rebecca Hall as Beth, starring Bruce Willis as my friend, the late, great Dink, Alan Dinkinson. Vince Vaughn played a bookmaker in the movie, and then Catherine Zeta-Jones played Dink's wife at the time. So Beth is going to be joining me next week right here. Let's Bet. Until then, see the cashier.